and it will be Craciun. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think it's Craciun.
Craciun. All right.
Yeah.
Please proceed.
Thank you. PDC staff are alleging that Jean Craciun, a 2023 candidate for the position of City Council member for the City of Seattle, violated RCW 29B 4130, formerly RCW 4217A445, by expending campaign contributions for personal use. Specifically, staff allege that Jean Craciun, the respondent, expended $9,300 in campaign contributions to pay for an existing rental property that she personally retained and used for non-campaign purposes before, during, and after the 2023 primary election. The allegation is based on staff's review of the respondent's expenditure history, research, and an October 21st, 2025 complaint filed by Hannah Wan, a former consultant advisor for the campaign. Ms. Wan also provided a spreadsheet, and I have attached links there instead of providing the whole complaint, which was rather voluminous, so you can link there. As for the background, on March 20th, 2023, Jean Craciun registered with the PDC as a full reporting candidate for election year 2023. She participated in and lost in the 2023 primary election. On her original candidate registration, she disclosed an address of 6544 Fauntleroy Way, Southwest Seattle, Washington, 98136 as her campaign address. That is Exhibit 1. The same Fauntleroy Way address was disclosed on all subsequent amended C1 reports. Ms. Wan first appears as an officer for the campaign on the respondent's amended candidate registration dated March 22nd, 2023, with the title of consultant. That's Exhibit 2. And Ms. Wan also appeared for 6 months on the registration and held the title of advisor on subsequent amended C1 reports until September of 2023. On the personal financial affairs statement filed by the respondent, she shows an address of 6544 Fauntleroy Way, Southeast Seattle, Washington, for her 2023 candidacy, her consulting business, Jean Ionelli Craciun Consulting, and the Diversity Center of Washington, a nonprofit corporation. And that is Exhibit 3. Jean Legault first appears as a treasurer for the campaign on amended registration dated April 7th, 2023. That is Exhibit 4. Ms. Legault continued to be listed as a treasurer until September 2023, at which time the respondent assumed the role of her own treasurer. Property records maintained by the King County Department of Assessment shows that David Kitchell owns the house and property located at 6544 Fauntleroy Way, Southwest in Seattle. That's Exhibit 5. The respondent's campaign disclosed 3 expenditures of $3,100 each on C4 reports made on June 30th, 2023, August 2nd, 2023, and September 6th, 2023, respectively, which were described as campaign office rental and rental of campaign office space. These expenditures totaling $9,300 were made to David Kitchell. See Exhibit 6. The business license on file with the Washington State Department of Revenue for the respondent's sole proprietorship disclosed a physical location and mailing address, the Fauntleroy address for the physical location and mailing address. The business license was issued first on or before December 1st of 2020. That's Exhibit 7. According to the nonprofit annual reports filed with the Secretary of State's office between March 11th of 2021 and March 29th of 2024, the Diversity Center of Washington disclosed the same Fauntleroy Way address in Seattle as its street address, mailing address, and principal office. On these reports, the respondent is listed as the nonprofit corporation's founder, board president, and governor or governing person. That is Exhibit 8. And the Fauntleroy address was listed on the center's nonprofit annual report until September of 2024. Let's see, we can skip a few things. And then after receiving a complaint regarding a late reported in-kind contribution of $1,363 that the respondent paid to the City of Seattle's Seattle Ethics and Elections Commission on January 25th, 2024 for what appeared to be a civil penalty, PDC staff reached out to Polly Groh with the SEEC. After speaking with Ms. Groh by telephone, PDC staff learned that the in-kind contribution was a refund of democracy voucher funds. The SEEC said they found several expenditures made by the respondent's campaign that did not appear to be campaign related, including but not limited to the campaign office rental on Fauntleroy Way. The SEEC told Ms. Craciun that she could not use democracy voucher funds for those items and agreed to resolve the matter with them with a refund. The SEEC was unable to provide us with additional documentation of their findings, but they said they're available by phone to answer any questions that we might have. And then after I talked to the SEEC, I did reach out to the former treasurer, Jeannie Legault, by telephone on January 28, 2026, in an effort to obtain information about the Fauntleroy Way address. And Ms. Legault expressed concern regarding the expenditures the respondent made during the campaign that did not appear to be campaign related. On February 1st, 2026, Ms. Legault provided a written statement to PDC staff where she described challenges overseeing campaign expenditures because the respondent kept a campaign checkbook. She had issues obtaining receipts from the respondent and answers about expenditures. Ms. Legault said the respondent spent a large amount of money renting office space for the campaign, but the purpose of the rented space was never clear to Ms. Legault. That's Exhibit 9. On November 6, 2025, the respondent responded to the email allegations made in the complaint filed by Hannah Wan and claimed that Ms. Wan had no access or contact with her campaign and that the claims made by Ms. Wan were spurious. That's Exhibit 10. But as we know from my earlier mention of it, Ms. Wan was an officer for 6 months on that campaign. The respondent's been served with a hearing notice, and there are 3 other complaints about other matters that we're hoping to resolve under the alternative responses to noncompliance in rule. There are aggravating and mitigating factors. A mitigating factor is that the respondent is a first-time candidate. Aggravating factors include that the noncompliance appears to be part of a pattern of expenditure activity that benefited the respondent and others economically. And as far as recommendations go, unfortunately, the penalty schedule doesn't address personal use. So basically, I'll just remind you that you can assess up to $2,000 for a violation. And if you find that there is a violation here, this would constitute the first occasion of a violation of RCW 29B.40.130. That ends my presentation, and I'm available for questions.
I do have a question. Do I have the ability to order her to reimburse the campaign treasury for the money she spent on herself and then to return it to the people who contributed it pro rata?
I know you can ask, well, we need to pull somebody in, but I believe you could do that. I was reluctant to suggest that simply because she has control of the campaign and would be putting money back into the campaign that she could then spend again. So I wasn't sure if that would really resolve the issue, but perhaps if it was refunded, I wasn't sure how you wanted to work that because it's a little complicated.
I'm going to try that. We'll see if it works. I'm going to find that PDC has established the violations as alleged. I'm going to impose a penalty of $2,000. I'm going to suspend $1,500 of it on the following conditions. The first one is that Craciun, Ms. Craciun, have no further violations in the next 4 years. The second is that she pay the unsuspended $500 within 30 days of the date of our written order. The next one is that she restore to the campaign treasury the $9,100 that she expended on rent. I think that's the right number.
$9,300.
$9,300 that she expended on rent to the treasury of her campaign, and that she refund that on a pro rata basis to the individuals who contributed to her campaign, and provide the PDC with written documentation that she has done so, and that she do all of these things within 60 days of the written order issued in this case. Do you have any questions?
I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. That takes us in.